Long ago, in a quiet valley surrounded by hills, lived an old woodcutter with his 2 daughters. Life was simple, but never easy. Every morning before sunrise, the father went into the forest to cut wood, and every evening he returned tired and weak. Still, he smiled for his daughters and shared a small meal of soup and dry bread with them. The elder daughter was kind and hard-working. She helped her father whenever she could and never complained. The younger daughter, however, avoided work. She spent her days resting, dreaming, and making excuses. One cold evening, the old man called both girls to sit beside him. With a tired voice, he said, "My daughters, I am no longer strong. You are grown now. It is time you both take responsibility for your lives." The hard-working daughter nodded with determination. The lazy daughter nodded too, but only with her words, not her heart. That night, their paths quietly began to separate. The next morning, the hard-working daughter prepared to leave. She packed a small piece of bread, a bottle of water, and her father's words deep inside her heart. Before she stepped out, the old man said gently, "Work with honesty, love what you do, and never turn away anyone who asks for help." With hope in her eyes, the girl walked beyond the valley and onto a long, quiet road. The sun grew warmer, and her feet slowly began to ache, but she did not stop. She reminded herself that effort was better than fear. Hours passed, and her strength began to fade. Just then, she noticed a withered apple tree by the roadside. Its branches were dry, and its leaves hung weakly. In a soft voice, the tree asked, "Kind girl, could you spare a little water for my roots?" The girl hesitated only for a moment. She lifted her bottle and poured water onto the dry soil, even though she knew she might need it later. And so, her journey continued, lighter in heart, but heavier in sacrifice. After leaving the apple tree behind, the hard-working girl walked on with steady steps. The road became rough, and dust covered her shoes and clothes. Soon, she came upon an old clay oven standing alone beside the path. Deep cracks ran along its sides, and it looked as if it might fall apart at any moment. In a warm, crackling voice, the oven spoke, "Young girl, I once fed many families, but now I am broken. Could you help seal my cracks so I may be useful again?" Without complaining, the girl knelt down. She gathered wet soil from the ground, mixed it carefully, and filled the cracks with her hands. Mud covered her fingers, her sleeves, and her hair, but she continued until the oven stood strong again. The oven sighed with relief and said, "You have dirted yourself because of me." The girl smiled and replied, "Clean clothes do not matter. What matters is helping when help is needed." She wiped her hands on the grass and continued her journey, unaware that her kindness was quietly being remembered. After leaving the oven behind, the hard-working girl continued walking along a winding path by a sparkling river. Suddenly, she heard a soft bleating sound. Peeking through the bushes, she saw a little lamb, covered head to hoof in thick mud. Its fur, once white and fluffy, was now streaked with brown and gray. The lamb called out in a tiny, trembling voice, "Please, I slipped into the mud while playing. Could you help me get clean?" Without hesitation, the girl picked up the lamb and gently carried it to the riverbank. She washed away the dirt, scrubbing carefully until the lamb's fleece gleamed like cotton. The lamb jumped and bleated happily, prancing around as if dancing with joy. The girl, soaked from the water, laughed softly and said, "You're clean now, little friend. Helping you made my hands muddy, but my heart feels lighter." With the lamb hopping beside her for a short while, she set off again, feeling even braver and kinder than before. After walking for hours, the hard-working girl came upon a dazzling palace gleaming in the sunlight. Its walls sparkled like polished gems, and the gates were open as if inviting her in. Curious and respectful, she stepped inside. To her surprise, 7 fairies appeared before her, each with a kind and gentle smile. "Welcome, young one," said the eldest fairy. "We have work for you here. Our palace has 7 rooms, but you must clean only 6. The 7th room must never be entered." The girl nodded thoughtfully and accepted their terms. Every day, she scrubbed, dusted, and polished the 6 rooms with care. She followed the rules faithfully, resisting the temptation to peek into the mysterious 7th room. Though the work was tiring, she remembered her father's words, "Honesty and diligence are always rewarded." Day by day, she grew stronger, patient, and wiser, knowing that good deeds bring unseen blessings. Months passed, and the hard-working girl never missed a day in the palace. She cleaned the 6 rooms carefully, always obeying the fairy's rules. One morning, the eldest fairy approached her with a warm smile. "You have been honest, diligent, and kind," she said. "Now you may enter the 7th room." With a mix of curiosity and excitement, the girl stepped inside. Her eyes widened as she saw piles of glittering gold, shining silver coins, and sparkling jewels. "These are your reward for your honesty and hard work," the fairy explained. On her way out, the girl met the little lamb again, the oven, and the apple tree. Each of them thanked her and offered gifts as a token of gratitude: pearls from the lamb, fresh breads from the oven, and sweet grapes from the tree. Her heart swelled with joy, knowing that kindness, patience, and honesty had brought her true rewards. At last, the hard-working girl returned home, her hands full of gold, pearls, breads, and grapes. Her father and sister were amazed. The lazy sister's eyes widened with envy as she asked, "How did you get all this?" The hard-working girl smiled gently. "I worked with honesty, helped those in need, and never gave up. That is why I was rewarded." Seeing her sister's regret, the father spoke kindly, "Hard work and kindness always bring results. Laziness leads only to disappointment." Determined to change, the lazy sister decided to try working for herself. She walked the same paths, but when the apple tree, the oven, and the lamb asked for help, she refused each time. The consequences quickly taught her the value of diligence and compassion. From that day on, both sisters helped their father, worked honestly, and lived together happily, sharing joy, love, and the rewards of their efforts.